All right, folks, welcome to another episode of the Questionable Perspective Podcast. We have with us today my co-host, FGC Chris. How you doing, Mr. Chris?
Doing well, doing well. How y'all doing tonight?
Pretty good. And we are joined by a very special guest, Mr. Pokchop, Mr. Noel Brown Round himself. Probably one of the best players from Atlanta. How you doing tonight, sir?
I'm doing good. How about yourself?
Pretty good, pretty good. Now, I wanted to ask you, since you are, I would say, one of the unofficial historians of the legacy of Atlanta for Tekken, anyways, because you've been playing Tekken since what, 3?
Yeah.
All right. We did try to get Mr. Founding Titan on since he had like sort of the other perspective when 404 came, but hopefully you might be able to fill in some stuff on that gap. But Mr. Porkchop, tell us a little bit about yourself. What got you first into Tekken? That way our viewers, or well, let me rephrase. Tell the viewers a little bit about yourself.
I started playing Tekken maybe in the late '90s. Tekken 3, whenever it came out, because I started playing fighting games with Street Fighter 2. First came out on Super Nintendo, so that lets you know I've been playing fighting games for quite some time. Um, but it went from playing Street Fighter, and then Mortal Kombat came out. Started playing Mortal Kombat, and then moved on to games like Killer Instinct, Bloody Roar. Killer Instinct, and then Clay Fighters. Uh, amongst to name a few fighting games that was out on the Super Nintendo system. And then when the 64 came out, of course, we moved to Killer Instinct Gold into Fighter's Destiny. Fighter's Destiny was like the first 3D fighting game I started playing. Um, then we moved on to other games that came out. But then Tekken came out, and my cousin was like, "Hey, it's this new game, and it's a different new aspect of fighting, and you actually use all of the background, to fight and all that kind of stuff, meaning sidestepping." So we started playing that, and it's just it was such a fun game. It was from there we started playing Bloody Roar, but Bloody Roar wasn't Tekken, so we ended up going back to Tekken, and Tekken 4 came out, and I started going to the arcades at that time, and that's when I met up with uh with with Big Boy, Iceman, some of the first people that I met, and the rest is history as far as that.
Well, as the current state of affairs for Tekken, I guess as for the world community, how do you feel about Tekken 8 right now?
I'm not too happy with the game right now because granted, yes, I'm all for offense. I mean, that's been my play style for decades. But this type of offense is brain dead. There's no thinking. You just do the move, and basically the game, the character does everything for you instead of you thinking.
You
Okay, I
feel?
have to do.
I think you feel the game's more flowcharty.
Yeah, it's flowcharty. It's catering too much to the new gamers, the newcomers. I'm for bringing the newcomers in, but they got to learn just like how we learned. And this Tekken is, I want to say, it's just like Tekken 7. It's unforgiving when you make a wrong move, when you make one mistake. But it's I don't see it getting any better than what it is right now. Not to mention, I mean, a lot of characters are not coming back, so it's like I still play the game because I love Tekken, but this Tekken I'm not too fond of it.
It's
Is it,
understandable.
I think you think the chip damage being added in kind of hurts the
That
like the.
that's the main problem. Chip damage. Tekken has always been that game where you're not making a mistake by blocking something. On this game, you're making a mistake by blocking. It promotes not blocking, and that's not a good deal.
Agreed.
Yeah, because a lot of times and sometimes the best option is to block.
but on this game, it's not the best option.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, I've seen some characters like, and this is not to. I believe the guy that won the last Tekken World Tour is what, Raichu? Hopefully I
Yeah,
didn't get the
Raichu.
name. Raichu, okay. And he's a bear player, but he's won twice. And bears are scary no matter what. But the way they've designed the bears now, especially Kuma, he is good. He went from being the joke character. I remember, and this is just me from playing like Tekken Tag 2. It's when I came into the Tekken. Him being sort of a joke character. He's a bear. He can do kung fu and such. All right, whatever. Now he can chip your health bar all the way down and heat gauge, and then like one grab, there goes all the recoverable health you might get back.
Yeah, because I've seen a stream with Mike Hollow, and he was playing Fang Wei against a Akuma player, and literally lost like 72% of his health to chip damage.
And got hit twice.
Mm-hmm.
But well, they are overhauling the game now. Like Tekken 8, since it doesn't have an arcade release, we're essentially in the arcade release. Air quoting this. So now once season 2 drops, and I'm just guessing here, it's going to drop about April, late April, maybe
April 1st.
Okay. So we're seeing
they're dropping Nina. No, not Nina, but Anna at the same time, aren't they?
Yeah. It's the same time. So April 1st for people who has the season pass, and I believe like April the 3rd or 4th or something like that for people who don't.
Yep.
Okay.
And so we're seeing a huge system overhaul. Like even I think it's like 1,100 something moves are being changed. Also, how do you feel about that? You think that'll maybe fix the issues?
I doubt it, but I mean, who's to say? I mean, that's over 1,200 patch notes, so it's definitely going to be a lot of gameplay that's going to be changing now, but I mean, we won't know unless we see. I'm hoping for the best though, because Tekken is one of those legendary games, one of those old games where it it brought a lot of people together. So I will definitely hope that they've done right by Tekken.
Well, they are saying they're toning down the heat some to make it a little bit more fair.
I mean, but they also implemented something where if you get heat with the heat engager, you're crouching, it puts you in the crouch state coming out of it. So that in turn would buff Yoshi big time, because I'm being told that it makes it 13 frames. It's plus 13 when you get hit.
Yeah.
And Yoshi coming in as crouching, he gets a guaranteed unblockable sweep. That's not what's up.
I think Dragunov is going to get something off that too as well, but I can't think of what it might be.
Dragunov is just, man, they've already nerfed him to the ground as it is, and they're probably going to nerf him again. Well, they've already said they're nerfing him again. As far as his crouch dash, his fireball QCF4, it no longer hits on the ground. So now that's it's like people can just lay on the ground against Dragunov, and it's just they're tearing the character to pieces, and yet you got other characters that's going up under the radar. It's not fair.
I understand. I play Dragunov
You
as
think
well.
that's more? I say you think that's more because of the new players coming in and just not being able to handle certain things about that character?
Yeah, a lot of complaining. Like, he makes you play Tekken. He's a small Tekken player instead of relying on counter hits like other characters, and he's not stringy. So he's just a really good character. I mean, granted, he is easy to play, but he's hard to win with, because you can't just spam out moves like that. The move that you could spam out, they nerfed it, which was Sneak 4. That's the overhead kick. They nerfed it. That's fine, but now just leave the character alone. You got characters that actually need to be nerfed, like bears need to be nerfed. Well, Kuma, but actually bears needs to be nerfed. You have Law, who needs to be nerfed. You have You have Clive, who needs to be readjusted. Like you have characters out here that's really jacked up, but because Dragunov is easier to play, people want to go to him, not knowing that he has terrible matchups. Like Yoshi. Yoshi is a very hard character to play with, but Yoshi is jacked up. He is arguably top 3 in the game right now. Arguably. And Law's of that amongst that top 3. And another character that I see kind of easy to play, she's a little bit difficult, but Nina. Nina needs to be touched as well. Like you have those characters in the game that's pretty jacked up.
Okay, where would you put Reina at? Since she's a newcomer to the game.
I would put Reina maybe top 8, maybe in the top 8 range. She's still good, even though she got nerfed. She's still really good. Like she's stringy, but it's small Tekken. Like her stuff is like small Tekkenish, and that's really dangerous in this type of game because that means you don't get white life.
Yeah, she'll take your health out with just like at least maybe 3 different moves. If you're not careful, get counter hitted. Now, all right, I guess that's.
I did have one more question though.
Go ahead.
What do you think about the movement buff they gave, where you can basically sidestep and when you're in crouch?
Sidestep from ducking. I like it because now that means that characters like Law, that actually nerfs the Law in a little bit, because if you're on player 2 side, when he does Hammer Fist of the God, it puts you in crouching state, and if you're on the right side, if you're on the left side, you have to step to Law's left, and you're not able to do that because you're in crouch state. Now that's fixed to where you can play Law on either side now. So if you're on player 1 side and he does it, you can sidestep to his left now, and he can't continuously to pressure you with the one move. So it takes away the spamming the spamming aspect of it. Like he can do Hammer Fist of the God, Rising 4. You can't step it on the right or to his right. Now you can by stepping to his left because you're now able to step in crouching.
Now, wasn't this a key aspect of a majority of the Tekken games where you're sidestepping to the foreground?
Yeah, it's been in all Tekkens. You're not able to sidestep from crouching, going to the foreground.
Now, with this change, do you think it's going to mess up any certain characters that have like the crouch cancel, like Dragunov?
What do you? No, I mean, I feel like it's not going to mess up crouch canceling. Period. It's just when you're ducking, you can now sidestep down.
Okay.
But as far as crouch canceling, I highly doubt it. I mean, because crouch canceling has, I feel like it has nothing to do with sidestepping. It's just the matter of timing of you letting go of down or whatnot. So
I know, like when certain combos or whatever Dragunov, like you'll do like launcher, a 4-4, which puts you in a crouching state, and then you can do a sneak, it's down 1-4,
1-4,
But then you'll cancel into, it's a timing thing where you have to push up, which essentially is like a sidestep according to the button indicator.
I feel like it would be it might be a little bit easier. It may even be the best thing for him because that means that instead of going up, it may throw a combo off axis where now he can go down. So I think that would be a slight buff,
Yeah, because I've noticed when I've played like certain combos, like because I'll have to make something up off the fly against the wall because I don't know all the wall stuff yet. There's like, okay, I'll just readjust and go this way with it. Hopefully that'll, as you said, the minor buff will help out. Hopefully it'll help out a lot of characters.
Yeah, I see that happening.
Now, I guess let's move on to the main subject. The pretty much where's the first place that was established for like the hub of all the Tekken in Atlanta? Because we know like the West Coast, they had, what was it, Family Fun Arcade and all that, Maximilian, all of them have talked about over the years. What did Atlanta have as what would be the central mecca to go to in the early days?
Oh, well, you had Underground Arcade, and then you had North DeKalb Mall Arcade. Those were two of the most primary arcades. But before my time, you had the Omni Hotel Arcade. That was before home systems were the thing.
Right.
Um, so it was definitely those three arcades. Might have been even Tilt Arcade at Cobb Galleria. Like we had a bunch of arcades where a lot of people went to. So maybe about 4 or 5 arcades before the home system took over. And then, of course, when the home system took over, you had various Tekken houses where they played everything.
Now, are some of the Tekken houses still going on?
No.
No. Okay.
Most of the that's pretty much the older crowd, and besides people coming over to my place here and there to do like first to 25s or to have sessions, there's nowhere else to go.
Well,
There's-
as
well,
currently
it's
there. Oh, go ahead.
we may have the one old tech house is still up, but nobody really goes there anymore. I should say if they do, that's something new to me. But mostly now it's just people just pretty much just go to somebody houses who's hosting, like whether it be my house who's hosting sometimes, or whether it be Shola who's hosting sometimes. But mostly everybody just plays online.
Online or goes to 404 nowadays?
Yeah, 404 is definitely the central place to go for tournaments, though.
Now, you could probably shed some light on this because I didn't really get around knowing what Final Round was till like Street Fighter 4's release back in like '08. So what essentially started? Because I know Shin Blanca he did it for 20 years because there's 20 final rounds. What essentially kicked off Final Round?
I believe he was doing it at his house at one point. He was doing it at his house. And of course, Clint was like the showman of it. He wanted to show off Clint's skills and invite people to come through and try to beat Clint because that's what it was, the Clint's Invitational. That was going on for like a good 6 or 7 years. Then he started he started getting venues. Used to go to like a recreational center. He'd go to a recreational center one year, my first year going actually, and then from there he started going to hotels because it started getting bigger and bigger and bigger. But it started off just a gathering at his house.
Hmm. That was good. Interesting. Now, I'm assuming the thing was with the last final round, which was 20, and I believe I'm trying to remember if that was at the Hilton or back at that convention center.
It was supposed to be going back to the Hilton, because the convention center was the last one that was held. It was going back to the Hilton, but then COVID hit.
COVID hit, and he ended up having a kid, and I guess running like 20 events really got to him. Because I mean, I was reading all the complaints, and some were somewhat justified, some safety concerns and all that. But I feel people were complaining too much just because. And I mean, watching Big E, Shin Blanca, I mean, they're pouring their heart and souls into this stuff like Bailey. But Bailey has more backing than I guess these two had. But I remember when Street Fighter V released, I know everybody and their grandma registered for that tournament, and that was what, Final Round 18? And we almost got kicked out of the Hilton, I think, because that just became a fire hazard. We're first part of Pro Tour.
I don't know anything about it.
All fair enough. All right. Now, with the way everything is now in the 404, maybe you can fill in this gap because going from the arcades. You had Gwinnett Brawl and all that throughout the years. And 404 officially dropped, what, 2019?
I think it was. I think it was maybe 2018. I can't remember. I just know it's been a while.
Right. Now, you might have this information. I don't, since Mr. Founding Titan's not here. That man somehow kept those doors open even during COVID. Now, when COVID hit, how did Atlanta come together to handle that? I guess as the community is for that area.
We still was going. The community here still was going. We just made sure that we wore masks and everything. Because it was like if you get it, you're gonna get it. It's whether it go through a mask or through hand contact or whatnot. You're gonna be around people. So a lot of us just went just because. We maybe missed maybe one or two. Once we figured out what this thing was, but we went and it was the Tekken crowd still went, but as far as the other crowds like Smash and all of that, they didn't go. So it was solely Tekken that kept full 4 open, and then we had the fundraiser, raised up money for Fountain Titan to keep it open some more months until finally things started working. He started being able to generate more revenue to keep the place open on his own, but it was pretty much the Tekken crew that kept it open. Tekken community definitely did. People that was there and people who wasn't.
Well, good to know it was Tekken that really kept the place going. Now I guess to add this, because I know between Atlanta is one of the mecca spots. There was Japan, Korea were the 3 mecca spots. Pretty much, if you wanted to get good at Tekken, you came to one of these 3 regions, which is always kind of funny to me still that Atlanta, Georgia is one of the hubs you always come to if you want to get good. Come here, and to this day that still holds true with new and old players I've seen throughout the years. Now, I know Speed Kicks came through and Anakin. How did these guys get their start? Because I've seen you play against them and mop the floor with them a couple of times, and they've taken you to the floor as well.
I believe Anakin may have been around just as long, or if not, maybe longer than I have. Because his dad used to bring him around. He was like 8 or 9 or something like that. Like he was a real little kid in arcade, so he might have been. He's definitely been in arcades longer than I have. But honestly, I don't even. Dang, I can't even tell you because I found out about Anakin maybe in 5.0 days. Well, no. Tekken 4 days. I found out about him in Tekken 4 days because he would go to the North DeKalb Mall arcade, whereas I was down in the Underground Atlanta arcade. So I was around about. I was a teenager back then, so like 16, 17. No. I was younger than that. I was about 15, between 15 and 16. And I wasn't too much really doing a lot of traveling around Atlanta. I would go from school to underground, from underground to home, or I would go from school to work, which was at the YMCA. So I wasn't doing much getting around back then because I didn't have a car. But yeah, I just found out about Anakin. It was like, hey, it's this little kid at North DeKalb Mall who gives Clint a run for his money. And that's how I found out about him. But I didn't really officially meet him until I want to say Tekken 5.0 days, when we started going to Final Round. Final Round, yeah, when I started going to Final Round. I was going to Final Round and Tekken 4 days, but I don't think Anakin was there.
Understandable. Now, between the I guess we'll say the underground Atlanta crew and the North Mall crew, did y'all ever have any beef or whatever like some people did back in the day?
Not that I know of. Not that I know of. I mean, everybody. I mean, kept it in the game for the most part.
Oh, that's good to hear. Did y'all ever have any big exhibitions like 5v5s or whatnot back in the day?
No, we did nothing like that.
Now, I guess back during the arcade days, which of the Tekkens from 3 to 5 was the most popular? Would you say for this scene, anyways?
Um, hmm. I say Tekken 5 because Tekken 3 wasn't competing in Tekken 3. I just started competing into the end of Tekken 4. So from what I've seen, Tekken 5 would be would have been the most popular. Well, actually, maybe Tekken 4 because I know Clint had a 150 game win streak on the arcade cabinet,
Dang.
and that was pretty ridiculous. So I say maybe Tekken 4 might have been the most popular.
Nobody really wanted to play Tekken Tag.
People were still playing Tekken Tag, but not as many as people was playing Tekken 4. But maybe because it was a newer game. Because as I said, I didn't start going to the arcade until like I started going to the arcade maybe around about the second year of Tekken 4, or maybe even the first year of Tekken 4. But so I didn't really play tag. I never played tag in the arcade until Tekken 4 came out.
They seem to be like the redheaded stepchild of the Tekken series. Those two games. Because people just don't seem to really like Tekken Tag or Tekken Tag 2.
I can tell you one thing. I like Tekken Tag 2 more than I like 7 and 8.
That is fair. Now
that was the last actual Tekken. Because you had to break throws the right way. You had to get up the right way. Like it's the last game that was actually Tekken. What Tekken was really made of.
Oh, so you started seeing the changes kind of creeping in Tekken 7.
No, I started seeing them creeping in Tekken Tag 2. Like unforgiving combos, stuff like that. But then when Tekken 7 came out, I was like, okay, it's just not what's up. Armor moves, super. I'm like, y'all going the same route that Soul Calibur was. The Soul Calibur was doing.
Well, that didn't happen until like Soul Calibur 5. God, I hate that game so much. No need to dread on that though. But I guess because Tekken 5 had what, 2 arcade releases? There was basically
the original
Tekken
5. Yeah, Tekken 5. Then you had 5.0.
One 5.0 like Dark Resurrection, I believe it was called.
No, those 2 different Tekkens. You had Tekken 5, and then 5.0 came out. 5.0 never made it to the home system.
Now, why is that?
It's a 5.1. I believe 5.1 or something. It was called something like that, like 5.1. And then DR came out on the home system.
Okay, so DR was just a later iteration after.
Was the final product? Yeah.
Okay. Because I know some people have some issues with DR or Tekken 5 DR.
Tekken 5 DR was the best Tekken.
Okay.
There was no character specific matchups. Everybody could beat everybody. Nobody was overpowered. Nobody was too sorry to use. It was the best Tekken. That's where you saw the most character
diversity.
Variety. Yep.
Huh. Oh, that's good to know. I never really knew that about Tekken 5. Then again, I didn't really dive in until later. Now, just on a side note, how well, because I know this is the redheaded stepchild of Capcom's logs, the Street Fighter Cross Tekken, how well did the Tekken scene take that game after the proper updates to that game? Or was it too late for that?
I think it was already too late because by that time I had already quit it. That game was just it was a 2D game, so if you play Tekken, that game was not for you.
Understandable.
I mean, you only saw you pretty much saw the people who was winning 2D games, winning Tekken. I mean, Street Fighter Cross Tekken. You know, like you saw the Street Fighter people winning in that game because that's what it was, a Street Fighter game.
Not true.
True.
But credit to that game, though. I feel now this just might be my opinion. They did translate all the cast that they brought over from Tekken into 2D pretty well from what I saw. And that's just from my understanding of Tekken characters and some of their movesets. But after the fiasco of what Tekken 7 was with Akuma, Geese, and all that, I feel that we probably shouldn't put 2D characters in 3D games anymore.
Yeah, because they
break the rules.
Breaking all kind of rules, and I was not a fan of that.
Now, I guess just on that, if they took away the meter system that like Akuma, Geese had that was unique to the fighters that they had, do you think they would have been a bit more fair?
I guess they would have been a little bit more fair. Because the fireballs wasn't. I mean, you could step the fireballs, of course, but then you had the fireball canceling. So yeah, I would. That means if they don't have meter, that means they can't cancel. So I think it definitely would have been fair. Because that means the fireballs would have been punishable. Then that means they wouldn't have been viable in the game.
I wouldn't count Akuma out. Now Geese probably so.
No, Akuma definitely would have been counted out.
Oh, because
Geese,
he was.
on the other hand, might have been different. Yeah, because Akuma solely relied on canceling. I mean, Fireball
gotcha.
FADC that's how he got his kill combos.
And no matter how many times they nerfed him, he was still viable because
by nerfing them, they buffed him, which was crazy.
I'll never understand how that works in some games. But
yeah, because everything started on the ground, there was no scaling until you got launched.
Oh,
so everything that you got hit with was unscaled damage.
Oh, damn! No wonder.
Yeah, that was the problem.
And then after seeing what was it, Arslan Ash and the rest of, you'll have to forgive me for not remembering all of the Pakistani gang, Akuma gang coming through. I forget which year it was, and I mean that whole top 8 when they came out, it was like 6 Akumas and 2 other random characters.
Yeah, I'm just not interested in it. Was not interested whatsoever.
Well, I remember
Tekken 7 was a good game until they added 2D. Without the 2D characters, it would have been a good Tekken. It wouldn't have been the best, but it definitely would have been a good Tekken.
Now, not to go back too far, I remember when, and I watched Tekken 6 here and there because I had a buddy that was really decent at it back in the day. Watching, I think it was Evo's top 8 of that. It was all Bob. Now, what in God's green earth when Tekken 6 dropped? Why was Bob so good in Tekken 6?
He pretty much had free launchers. Like Down Forward 2 was a safe launcher on counter hit, and if you duck it, you get launched. So it's like his 50-50s was ridiculously good. So I mean, he had nice speed to him. He was like the best Mishima on the game. You should say.
Damn, speed and weight.
Yeah, speed and weight.
Now, I guess between Tekken 6 and Tekken 7, I guess later Tekken 7, which of those two is more embraced by Atlanta's scene, 6 or 7?
You're talking about 2 different generations of players. Like the old school were Tekken 6, and the new and uppercomers, like their first Tekken was Tekken 7. So that's that's like literally a decade apart. Because Tekken Tag 2, we played Tekken Tag 2 for a very long time. Matter of fact, a lot of the players for Tekken 6 not even around anymore by the time Tekken 7 came out.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, you're talking about my early 20s compared to my early 30s.
That's Fair. Now, I guess, and I will ask this: between from Tekken 7 to 8, I know in Tekken 7, the infinite stages, the Korean backdash. If you were king in the game, if you were Korean backdashes and forward dashes were really good because someone with something, you're there, punished. You can get away, forcing them to throw out. So that made Tekken 7 very defensive, and that's what I guess going from that to 8 forced a lot of people, as earlier, forced to turn off their brains, so to speak. But it's I guess adjusting to the new way Tekken 8 was. How did some of the older players take that? Did they just like I hate it, I hate it? Why am I not getting good at this? Or do I just need to turn off my brain and just deal with it?
Somewhat. Well, actually, both. Actually, they hate the new how you could just swing. Then it's to a point where they're like, you know what? I'm just gonna turn my brain off and just go with it. When you see the high level players play each other, it becomes old Tekken because now it's like, okay, I know what you want to do. I'm going to use small Tekken and I'm gonna win with small Tekken. So it changes. But when you see players, new and up and coming players, then you see nothing but swing, no kind of defense. But yeah, to answer your question, I say both. They hate it and they just turn their brain off.
That's understandable.
Was it more focused on the fact that Heat pretty much puts you in a 50-50 guessing situation every time somebody pops it?
You don't even got to be in Heat to get to be put in a 50-50 situation. But I mean, a lot of players don't even wait for it. Like if you pop Heat, it's like you at a disadvantage because they're swinging right out of it.
Because they hit with Heat, you're like what, plus 12?
No, you get hit with Heat. Well, if you get hit with a Heat engager, I think you're like plus 13, plus 12, plus 13. But if you get hit with like just Heat, just cut on Heat, it's like plus 2 or plus 3. Nothing major.
All right. Yeah, that's kind of crazy seeing how Tekken has come the way it has. But now I want to ask this because I know as Tekken was always the main game in Atlanta, how was Virtual Fighter for the scene?
Who?
Virtual Fighter?
What's that?
See, I knew it. I know that was going to be that.
Like Virtua Fighter don't even exist in Atlanta.
Wow.
If it does, I don't know who plays it.
I guess the one Virtual Fighter player I know down here in the middle of Georgia. Oh man, I thought. Well, I guess did Tekken ever embrace Dead or Alive as like just a no? If it wasn't Tekken, it was nothing.
Soul Calibur maybe. The Tekken. A lot of the Tekken. Well, a lot of the Tekken players play Soul Calibur, and vice versa. A lot of the Soul Calibur players play Tekken. It was a Namco thing.
Okay, that's fair and understandable. I grew up playing the hell out of Tekken, or not Tekken, Soul Calibur from the arcades all the way from PlayStation 2 on up.
There was just a small difference in the two games, but it was virtually the same.
This is true.
Like if you was good in Tekken, you was pretty decent in Soul Calibur already. Just because. Like I wasn't a competitor of Soul Calibur, but I played it casually. But I played the best in the world at it. So it's like even though I was a casual player of it, I was better than your average competitor. I wasn't on pro level, but because I played some of the best players in the world because they lived here, I mean, it was like, oh well, I play them, so I know exactly what's going on, and I don't compete in the game.
Now, I know. Go ahead.
No, I'm about to say, do you think that Namco is just putting so much faith in Tekken they kind of just letting Soul Calibur just languish over there.
Don't know. They may have something cooking right now. Just not sure. But I can say it's been a while since Soul Calibur has done anything. So I mean, they could be relying on Tekken, but hey, who knows?
Well, here's hoping Tekken Soul Calibur does get a revitalization again, because 6 was nice, but that bar system was very annoying at times, along with the Soul Edge reversal system. It was not fun playing rock paper scissors.
No, exactly what you mean.
All right, boy, Charles, what are your feelings on what's it, special styles in Tekken?
You mean talking about like the buttons?
Yeah, where you can where you can be in rank and somebody can just switch between classic and special style.
I don't care nothing about it in Tekken. Now, Street Fighter, on the other hand, that's a different story. But it really don't matter in Tekken. Street Fighter, it does.
Well, the thing is with Tekken, though, you can switch it on and off mid-match, and that's so weird.
Yeah, I don't care I don't care nothing about what you got going on with your buttons. It doesn't change the fact that your moves are still going to come out the same. Now, Street Fighter, I mean, you got one button supers. That's silly.
Annoying.
Man.
Instant DPs at the ready.
Yeah, right. It's like I lose specifically to a Lily player that whenever I go down to Columbus, to Macon to play, I lose to this one player because he has special on. He has the special assist on. And it's like I jump, he just hit a button for DP and it auto corrects. He don't have to do dragon or nothing like that. He got one button super. It's like I can't make him react to stuff because he ain't got to. All he got to do is like, oh, I hit him, hit this button. He doing something, he hit a button. That's it. Whereas people who play classic, you have to put in the motions.
I
you got to put in them. Yeah, it's silly. It shouldn't be tournament legal.
Well, I will say it does have its pros and cons, because some characters do lose out on certain moves that I would say are very good buttons. But
even with the 25% damage reduction, if I don't have to think as much and the pressure's not really on me as much, like that 25% damage reduction is not really that big a deal.
Right.
Fair.
Like that 25 damage might be all you need.
Now, I know you do play on PC a lot. Do you play any Street Fighter 6?
No, I don't play on PC a lot.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, only thing I play on PC is, I mean, I have Tekken and I have Street Fighter on it. But only thing I play on PC is Call of Duty when I do play it.
Fair. Because I was going to ask, have you ran into, I know there have been cheaters within Tekken 8, and there's a big controversy with that group of cheaters, like reporting people and everything in math, which it was nuts for me to learn about a couple of weeks back.
Yeah, pluggers.
You're always going to have pluggers. It's like it's like rank is their life. Like that's me, awesome. I'm like, I'd rather just go ahead and take the loss so I can go to the next match. I ain't got time to be. I'm more of a patient person, so it's like I'm ready to go to the next match. I'm not finna unplug and then gotta get everything set straight back up. You know, if I lose a rank, I just lose a rank. I'll get it back eventually. If I don't get it back, hey, I just don't get it back. I don't care about rank no way. You know,
that's understandable. Now, I know Street Fighter does. Now, I don't want to harp on too much. Now, besides modern mode in Street Fighter 6, there is dynamic. Have you ever played against anybody? And this is something like you've seen, like their dads and their kids. The kids will have dynamic on, and that's where the AI takes over and will adjust accordingly. Because literally, a little kid's just going to mash. Now, Street Fighter 6 has had this issue. I don't know if it's been fully addressed yet. There have been people able to use dynamic, which is only for offline, online and ranked. Have you ever seen any of that footage ever before?
I haven't.
Okay.
I haven't. Yeah, that's something definitely new to me. I didn't even know I knew dynamic was in the game, but I didn't know what it what it did. So that's something
It
like
it it adjusts the combos on the fly almost for the player. So I'm wondering if Tekken 9 will ever implement something like that, and how would you feel if future Tekken ever did that?
it'd be pointless to play the game. Like if the computer's going to do everything for you, what's the point of playing the game? Where's the fun in that? What you just going to watch? I mean, you might as well just watch anime.
You're not wrong. But some people,
I
it's
about to say, 'cause that's the fun of the game. Just when you're playing against a real person, just constantly making adjustments and counterplay.
Mm-hmm.
it's crazy the way some of going from we're all popping in quarters in these games, and now the younger crowds now they're popping in their parents' credit cards just to pay for one character, which it feels a little silly.
No,
I mean,
it's definitely silly. Like we're getting unfinished product. We're
now,
paying for one game we're paying full price for a game multiple times.
yeah, it's. Well, I will say at least this between like Street Fighter and Tekken, for the most part, before Tekken had its big controversy after its launch, they were fair to the point, but because of other industry standards, these have become the norm, and I hate it. But it keeps the
Was
games alive essentially, because
Are you
no
talking about that
casual.
DLC or the of like the modern controls and stuff like that?
Just the way the DLCs are. Because without the DLCs, the games would eventually die. And I hate seeing and I'm sure Porkchop will agree. Some of these classic characters, like you had Heihachi, who was dead, yada yada yada, comes back, and I mean he's completely different in this, and I think he's cool, but having to pay like $7 to play him, if not pay for the pass,
Yeah.
and then the and I
Plus
guess
the stage.
I want to ask you about this because when Tekken 8 dropped, did you have any problems besides the way the heat system may have had? Did you see a complete product when it dropped? There's no accessory store or anything. It was just the game, the cast. There you go.
I mean, not really, because I mean, it had so much that was wrong. I didn't feel like it was a finished product. Like I mean, they didn't have arcades to test this stuff out. So it's like you're bringing it out. We are, like you say, the testers, and we're paying them to give us unfinished product, and we're paying for them to finish the product. So I felt like it was not. I already knew it was going to come out kind of jacked up.
But before that, did you gave it its fair chance? Correct.
Yeah. I mean, I played the betas and stuff like that, and I knew like some of the stuff that was going on in the beta was definitely going to not be in the game. But
Now,
yeah, I definitely gave it fair share.
now, how did Atlanta, I guess, would take when I mean, obviously, air quotations, complete product. They dropped the store, the battle pass. How did a lot of the old heads and new kids take that?
I don't think anybody felt any kind of way about it. I mean, if it was any kind of complaints about that, there was something that I didn't hear.
Fair. Well, I guess that's really pretty much sums up the legacies for Tekken right now, as far as Atlanta's concerned. How are you for the future of Atlanta and Tekken?
Uh, I mean, seems like things are starting to pick up a little bit more, back up a little bit more from the announcement of the new season. So, I mean, once the new season comes in and the new character drops, we'll see.
All right. Well,
Looking
go
forward to
Do you
ahead.
feel
seeing
like
what's going to bring.
Tekken 8 is moving in the right direction right now, or
Hard to say until this new season drop and to see the new changes. So until it actually drops, I won't say that it's moving in the right direction because things could be worse.
mm,
This is true. Well,
mm,
you got any more questions for him, Mr. Chris?
I don't know. Just he's pretty much he said his whole feeling stuff about Tekken 8. Like it's just something about Tekken 8 when I first picked it up. It just like he said, everybody's just swinging. It's like, okay, well, when is it my turn to actually do something? And it's kind of one thing that kind of just pushed me away from Tekken right now. Even though I'm getting back into it, I'm just having kind of like a character crisis.
I'm there as well. I'm not playing. My character's not in the game, so trust me, I know exactly how I feel.
Who's your character, Bruce?
And not even that. They don't have a Muay Thai character, period. So it's like,
yeah, because I've been hoping for Falcon to come. I thought he was going to be in this last season.
Yeah.
Damn. That's understandable. Now, I guess do you have any final things you want to say to our audience before you leave, sir?
I say, if you're new to Tekken, come on in. This is definitely a good time to get in and learn the game. It is becoming one of the most sold Tekkens. It's approaching the milestone that Tekken 7 did. So it's definitely a lot of new players and a lot of new up and comers. So I welcome it. Making the Tekken scene great again.
But how do you feel about most of these players saying they're going back to Tekken 7 since they don't particularly like Tekken 8?
Now they see what the old heads were saying about Tekken 7. How we felt about Tekken 7 and how we wanted to go back to Tekken 6 and Tekken Tag 2.
So pretty much,
I know it's been a big online movement to like leave Tekken 8 and go back to 7 because it's supposed to be more defensive. Which from people I've talked to said no, Tekken 8 was just as aggressive, but you did have more defensive mechanics.
Yeah, you do got a lot of high armor characters in this game, but I just wanted to be fair across the board. Give everybody high armor, or take all the high armor away. So that way, if they do armor, it's unsafe.
Reduce some of the chip damage, or just take it out altogether?
Just take out the chip damage. Like, that's not Tekken. Take it out.
Well, we'll see if they do it. But if you don't mind, go ahead and tell our audience your socials and all that, and I'll make sure those are down in the description for everybody.
All right, for all social media platforms, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, and IG, you can reach me at Pokchop50. That is POKCHOP 50.
All right, sir. Well, I want to thank you for joining us today, man. Definitely thank you for the knowledge drop.
Definitely appreciate you coming through.
No problem.
All right, folks. Well, that's going to be it for this episode. You all have a wonderful day or night. Peace.